Hello, and welcome everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today on this Wednesday. Work continues. I got my airbrush and everything prepped so far, so I'm gonna see if I can boost a little bit of this saturation. So I'm gonna do a little bit of airbrushing to start. A little bit of ice yellow, and a little bit of this poo yellow. Yeah, got my first shot of the vax today. Arm's not sore too much. Mine's still very clear and no fogginess or any of that nonsense. So feeling good. So working from home, so I decided just to pop on the stream while I'm still waiting for the missus to finish up. Yeah. But better time to do a little bit of painting than now. There's already a little bit of water in there. I'll grab some of this poo yellow, ice yellow, just to help boost the saturation a little bit. Not saturation, just have some better color in that value. Grab some of this green just to help it tie in a little bit better. I want this to thin down. So, let's get a little bit closer. So I just want to focus mainly on the forehead and stuff like that, so let's see. A little bit better, not much. So let's just dry this off. Oh, all in all, chill day so far. Work wasn't too crazy. So, little bit more brushwork on that right cheek. Thought we're gonna use this color again. Just empty that out in the little. Alright. So now we did some of that little bit of airbrushing. We've got a little bit more better coverage over those lighter spots. But we still have to go in. So I'm gonna do mostly stippling now.
Yeah, boy.
Hey Nikki, Minis, thank you for the follow. Yeah, thanks. Much appreciated. So I'm gonna do some stippling with this ice yellow and very bad covering Denary yellow. Because yeah, not a very strong color to try and cover and build up some highlights. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Wow. So let's first try to fix up this little cheek. Again, we can do some lines first and then stipple it out so it blends a little bit better. And the one thing what I like about when you do some airbrushing stuff and you come back over it with a different, well not different color, but with a brush, tends to blend a little bit better just because of the colors having a bit of a interaction with each other because it's the same tones. What am I about? Oh, assume you do mean how I'm doing, but I'm doing good, and what I'm about is just painting miniatures for fun. So that's basically my story. Nothing serious, no commissions, just enjoying the hobby on my own pace. Did set up my humidifier a little bit too late, just before I started streaming, so paint is drying up a little bit quick on the brush. Let's try to load up a highlight again. Still very much a little bit in the sketching phase, so don't need to be too neat. That little line on the cheekbone. I grab some of that more ice yellow color into that mix. So let's see if we can't bring these tones a little bit back closer to each other. As that dries, that look a little bit better. Maybe blend this little down here a bit better as well. Doesn't have to be perfect now. Yeah, no, like as you can see, bust is pretty much my thing. I love to paint. I think I've only done about how many 75 more stuff now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and the rest is all pretty much busts I've painted. So yeah, bust is a I don't know if you do know Celery. I did push him last year into doing his first bust. I also bought him his first bust. So it's a very fun size medium to paint. It's something entirely different from doing 75 more stuff. So I would recommend, even if you do feel like that you're not ready for it, I'll assure you that you would learn a few things along the way, and just having that extra space to work with on a model does help a lot. Very nice confidence booster. Yeah, skin's not the most. I think it's one of those cases where I was also never much a fan of painting skin, but it's just a case of the more you try and fail, the better grips you get with it. So there's only one way to learn it, and that's to paint models with skin on it. So doesn't matter if it's fantasy or realistic. But I think fantasy is much more a easier point to start from instead of doing realistic skin tones, because you do tend to get it easier or get it right to paint more a dead flesh than a more alive looking flesh tone. So one thing I would say, grab some of this to help smooth out this paint a little bit. Now in this case, well, I'm painting more fantasy stuff at the moment, just to widen that knowledge of how to do certain things. It's looking a little bit patchy on that side, but it's okay. So let's rather do this. Seeing that my room is still a bit dry at the moment. Grab a little bit of a bigger brush. Okay, now I would recommend taking the chance at your first bust. Does pay off. Let's see if we can't. And these colors are very transparent. Definitely not helping me out in any way, shape or form. So let's do a bit of a lighter sketch rather. Can bring it back. You wanna over contrast with the sketch and then bring it back down again. What do you paint mostly at the moment, Nikki? Mostly GW stuff or just D&D type things? Where's my music disappeared to? Hey Phoenix, how you doing? Let's see where my music disappeared to. Alright. As I see, your Neko Bus got gold, so congrats on that one. Always nice to see. So let's see if we can't this side up a little bit. Very transparent paint is letting me down very much. Making it look very pasty. Yeah, no, I know the feeling. I don't know if you've... I did think I did post it on your Discord, the chroma that I painted. I can actually pull her up on the stream. But one thing I did feel like, especially on that model, and I know you do also paint mostly just casted models, more traditional stuff. I like my more traditional models are so way more than the 3D printed stuff, but for the time being, that's our best option down here in South Africa for the moment. So let's see if I can't bring this one up. So yeah, this is the one I finished over, when was it, the weekend? So I'm happy with like the center part. Obviously some of the metallics, especially on the torso, could have done a lot more with, but if you look at the size of my thumb and the size of the model, you kind of do get the idea of how large the model is for no apparent reason. And I ended up cutting off the crow and the lantern to paint them separately because she's already being so large of a model. She's got two arms extending to the sides, so you get this really, really awkward model to paint. So I was like, no, stuff this. I'm just gonna try and crank this one out and get it done in a get it over with before I go insane. So yeah, that is just one of those models where you know, like, I could have done better. But yeah. Ah, thanks, man. See, now this is where I can say thank you to you, because just before I started painting the face, I actually watched your video on YouTube about painting female faces, and that helped out a lot. So thank you for putting out free content. So yeah, this is one of those things where I like, it's just such an awkward sized model. Just as I like learn how to pick models, especially 3D painted stuff, printed stuff. I think that's what yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, no, thanks, man. Really do like your videos. So this was the other one I've painted just before the Crow Mother. So he was a lot more freeing. So it's also the first time I did like tattoos and like try to get it look like it's not like just painted on. So did a few things I've never done before, like a little small shallow resin pour just to get the hangs of it, and then some water splashy effects and stuff. So it's a very green palette overall. But he was more in the sense of, so obviously this was sculpted by one of the products from Abyssal, so just that everything's not so widely overcomplicated. It's much more fun to paint, and there's no like arms or legs going out 10,000 miles side to side. Where the 3D printed stuff is always very nice, but there's a big difference between people that do sculpt for like casting or like cast companies, and then just people doing it as a side job or trying to do it as a main job. And it's just sometimes hit and miss, and as I buy some of them, I learn things where I have to kind of look out for not doing the same thing of, hey, this looks like a cool model, let's buy it, and then as soon as you assemble it, it's like, okay, this is gonna be a major issue trying to paint this thing. Yeah. But I think I only got a few more of the 3D models. So this one I got for free because I'm judging the painting contest, so this is just a freebie. But luckily, I think you were on last time as well when we talked about the subject where Fausto from Abyssal, we struck a deal with him. So I've got a few other 3D printed Abyssal models, but at least it's from Abyssal and it's not like other random like sculpted stuff from Patreons and things like that. So at least the sculpts would make more sense and be easier to do a decent paint job on. But at least I know, like, haven't had a lot of buyer's remorse with models, luckily. I think the only one I did have very early in my painting was one of the scale 75 ones from the Genesis. Is it Genesis? I don't remember, but He's sitting right there next to me. But the thing is, like, I can't even remember how much freaking model was. It was quite expensive. It's like into the price range of, say, a Neko Galaxy model. So for us down here, it's say 1,300 rand. So the conversion for that for Neko model. So I've got Nancy, but then for something like this, so I did a very piss poor job at the painting, but it was a while back. So this model was a 75 more, and this one was 1,000 rand. So say, how many would that be? Struggling to figure out now. Can't remember. And anyway, you can kind of make the assumption you've painted a Neko model now. So does this look like 15 pounds? Like, not 15 pounds, I can't remember. But anyway, it's like 300 rand for us. So it's equivalent to like half a tank of gas. so, so almost at the same price range. And it's like, it's a cool model. You can do something. The pose is a bit wonky, and this is why I did like this major like thing, because I knew if I did him on a normal little plinth, this sword was gonna be the first thing that snaps off. So I think this was my only model I've actually bought that was buyer's remorse, but the rest of the stuff is like kind of 3D printed stuff, so it's not too much of a big impact. Or a little bit cheaper down here, and then things like this. So this model isn't painted finished yet, so that's a prime example of having too much of the same shit on a 3D printed model. So I was like, oh yeah, no, this is cool skin to paint and everything. So I got like nice, okay, it's decent skin. I could do a lot better now. I was busy with like trying to do some funky NMM, and then I'm like, okay, I'm sick of trying to do this 10,000 layers of NMM. Let me paint the sword. Okay, sword's precisely the same thing. So I was like, nah, fuck this model. I'll paint it other time when I actually feel like it. But yeah. But so we learn. It's one of those things. But yeah. Unfortunately, it is part of the learning experience, but or one of the newer learning experiences, especially with all the 3D printing and stuff, which is available now. Yeah, see, the thing for us down here is, like I said last time, there's only one guy, well, there's two shops that brings in like your Spanish and UK models. So there's one shop that sells fur miniatures, and then the other one sells Neko, Chimera, Big Child, Neko. Did I say Neko already? Some of the Scale 75 stuff, but the only way we can do that is like only having like, say, 2 to 3 orders per year. So it's a case of buy it now and save it for later. So there's a chance for kind of getting buyer's remorse, because you think, oh yeah, no, this is going to be a cool project, and then when you actually want to go ahead and paint it, you're like, not feeling this model right now. So that kind of dies down. So yeah, Madness, who prints these ones, is kind of our wizard of doing very good 3D prints. So he's kind of like our like savior in doing all the 3D print stuff for us, because he is a host, or well, not a reseller, but he has his own like 3D printing stuff. So he does a lot of the printing from his home. He has like 6 or 7 printers running 24/7. So for us, that's almost the only way we can kind of sustain the hobby down here. Just because people has this conception of, well, I'm not going to buy a foam miniature because it's more expensive, so let me buy this 3D printed one half the price. Then it's kind of that hit and miss where you can buy something like, say, Crow Mother, which is decent, but it's way too awkward and stuff to paint. So, and then you're like, okay, well, why don't you buy a Chimera Bust? Oh no, it's way too expensive. I'm gonna be too scared to paint it. And then like, then just, okay, whatever, man. You can't be scared of painting a model. It's just paint on resin, so not happy with it, just paint over it. Yeah. No, it is still very hit and miss. And it's just the weird things with 3D printing, so I think where was that horrible point? So underneath the head I had to clean up a lot with all those little support beams. So that was the only spot like there, and then afterwards I only saw there's like these little bumps still on the wings. But for the most part on the other models I haven't found too much issues. The one thing I would just say is never print your models hollow, because you do run the risk of not getting all the resin out of the hollow print. So this one is actually a good one because I'm struggling with that issue. Somewhere there's still resin leaking out, so yeah. Not the biggest fan of that as well. But yeah, that's just the same thing for most of the other stuff, so can do a little bit of a fun show and tell. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to paint today, so might as well entertain myself as well in the process. So let's grab this bad boy. And he's also very close to being next on the list. So obviously this is also one of Abyssal's models. So luckily these ones we've printed out at the set scale as the normal bust would be. So let's move that to the side. So obviously it being grey, can't really see too many things. But yeah, for the most part, all of the details are very nice and pronounced. But then you get into like weird little places where you have to do some cleanup work. And you always get cleanup work. It's just easier to scrape casted resin than printed resin. So there's still nothing wrong with the quality of his prints. So still looking forward to paint him sometime soon. But then obviously you go into the big boy realm of things like Big Child, and then shit gets real crazy. So the only thing you have to do is basically just take a nice hard bristle toothbrush, and you're gonna get rid of all that flesh, this jawline sculpted onto the shoulder pad, subtle fur textures. So yeah, now I'm still very much a proponent for casted models. So it's the case of getting the ones you want. So the only way we can get most of our stuff is if we to have it in stock at the stores we have down here, or we have to have them posted from the UK or whatever. But at the moment, with how the old setup worked as well, is the guy has a kind of like a postage, how can I word this? So he has like a local warehouse where he lets everything get posted at one time from there, but the issue with Brexit now is that it bumped up all the prices, so everybody has to kind of chip in a little bit extra just because things get taxed and then they get taxed again. So that's the only issue we're running into now. But yeah, so it goes. Can't complain too much. Things can be always be worse and we can't get some of the stuff we want. So let's see, we can still fix up a few things here. Smooth out this. This side of the face I'm starting to like, but the other side I'm still having quite the struggle with. But yeah. Just the benefit with our local big 3D printer guy is before he came into the printing scene, everybody, there's a few guys doing 3D prints with some of the painters, but there was no like clear price comparison in between everyone, so it ended up being just a little bit cheaper than doing normal models. And then the prints wasn't too great, but you couldn't complain too much. Was better than nothing. But then luckily, once our 3D printing guru came onto the scene, he wasn't too worried about making a massive profit into this in the beginning. So his prices was very compelling for a lot of people. So at least then it freed up and kind of killed out all the people it was trying just to make money out of it for no apparent reason, just to get a lot of funds out of it, kind of abuse the monopoly of it. So that's also nice. Paying less for, or a more reasonable price for something. Alright, let's do some covering up on this face, because I'm not feeling too jazzed about this. So let's see. Take a sip, yeah. So again, we want to use a little bit more saturated darker colors to do the covering, because I tend to not desaturate everything. So let's do that. I'm just gonna grab some water, grab that in there. And then we've still got some of that green on the palette, so I'd rather use some of that. A little bit of backflow. So now we're just gonna try aim into the in-between spots. Had a little bit of a mess there, but that's fine. See if we can reverse some of this. Space. How you doing, Space? So you did some Dark Souls, Dark Souls streaming today. Very nice. Yeah, no, my arm is doing good. I think if I go up until 90 degrees, it was a little bit worse earlier, but not too bad. So, can't really complain about my arm. Oh, it's satisfying up until the point where it goes horribly wrong because as you can see, basically not pulling back the little handle too much doesn't do much, but if you like do little mistakes like thinking that you're done spraying and then pull back and then press, you get that nice splatter effect which can make you very angry, because especially if you want something nice and smooth, that's the last thing you want. So yeah, it can be very fun and satisfying up until the point where you wanna swear at yourself. Let's see if we can sneak a little bit of a softer highlight in there. Most of this looks a little bit more smoothed out. That's good. Let's just get rid of all the nonsense in the cup. Seeing all the weird little things. Yeah, I got all of that ready. I should just try and figure out how to do some or get some emotes going, but I think I'm also in the boat where with Ether where he doesn't want to do emotes, but well, he wants to do emotes, but he doesn't want to do emotes just for the sake of having emotes and have it not really have anything to do with the stream. So I think that's also where names plays a big role in your stream, like especially like Spacebug. You've got pretty much a decent, like good category to pick from. Space and pugs, so you can even have little astronaut pugs and stuff like that. So yeah, so like Ashes painting, you know, you can play around with fire and stuff, but I don't know. What is this lit? Fire fix 100? I don't know. So yeah. Alright, so now at least it's looking way more smoother. Now I can go back in again. So the thing with the airbrush, it's not like a brush where you can build up, build up, build up. So an airbrush is nice, but it does take away some of your work. So you kind of have to decide if you want smoothness over a lot of nice textures and stuff. At least this way it softens up some of those harsher tones. Thanks, man. Hey, yeah, no. I'm still trying to think about it. It's a tricky one, because you only got this much size to play with an emote, so you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to have there. So I'm just gonna quickly dry this off. Oh yeah, I'm done with the crow mother. I can show you how she turned out. So unfortunately she's like there in the back of the display case because she's a little bit too large for no apparent reason. So let me bring this up and then switch there. So yeah, here's the crow mother. So like I said previously, I'm pretty much happy with the center part of the bust. I think if like, even if it was just a shoulder bust type of deal, like no arms involved, that would have been nice as well. The hair at the back still goes way wonky out, so there was a lot of work. It was at least fun trying like a purple skin tone, getting some nice reflections on the arm in there. I can maybe pull up another picture from the side. So let's do this one. So yeah, like doing the reflections like there underneath the boobie, trying to still don't know how to do those muscular highlights and stuff like that. So obviously there's a lot of drawbacks on this model. You know, I could have improved on like the metallic work, like in there, smooth all of this out a lot more, do more work on the lantern. But for the most part, I'm like happy with the center of it. The crow is fine. Painting feathers is relatively not very entertaining or fun to do. So yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, so the weird thing with the crow mother was I didn't use the airbrush for skin at all. So that was all brush work, but yeah. Purple is a little bit more forgiving to work with than green skin tones. Because you get into the green yellow range and then paint just goes very not opaque. So it's a little bit harder to work with. But yeah. Alright, so now we've got more of a better baseline to work from again. The only issue I really have is this yellow color I'm working with. This one is very, very translucent and I'm not really feeling that at the moment. So these ones are close enough in range to each other. So I think I'm just going to swap out for the You Can't Go Wrong Ice Yellow. And this is the other color I'm highlighting with. Just because it desaturates it a little bit and still keeps in that green. So I think I'm just gonna stick to those two. Yeah, me. So we know you're gonna. I'm heading to. All good, man. Keep well. Enjoy. Be safe. Let's just get a refresh of this. Thanks, man. I will always enjoy my painting. Let's take a quick break. Alright. Let's see if I can't get some more decent work done with a larger brush. A good old size 4. Oh, man, it's late though. Where's this celery hiding? Did some airbrushing, did more sketching. And I can. Oh, count mushrooms. I cook on Wednesdays. That makes sense now. Yeah, so I decided to chuck that horrible yellow one side and just swap it out for ice yellow. because that's a little bit more opaque than that paint. I'm just going to be working with that dead flesh and ice yellow for the moment, just because it sketches a little bit better. Let's see how this green goes on its own over this airbrushing work now. Yeah, so those actually lighten up the tone a little bit, even though you can't really see it. I at least want it there, so let's just mix in a little bit of ice yellow into it. Ah, where did you find this? Tell me. Italian art shop. Isn't that in Cape Town as well? Am I getting that wrong? The name sounds familiar, that's why. Well, not everything. It's one of those cases like, oh yeah, man, I would love to go to Jigs Hobby and those places, but then it's like the case of the things you want to go see is not close by. No, this is glazing over much better. Yeah, no hoodie or beanie today. The weather's been. There was supposed to be shitty weather today, but luckily no shitty weather. Can actually go with the bike to the hospital to get the jab. It saved up on traffic time. It was always fun having the girlfriend leave like 5 minutes before you, and then you still drive past her in traffic. It's like, bye. Oh, prep, yeah. Yes. Now, definitely, I think actually that we're gonna be unfortunately have to go up to a wedding, which Sivan is also one of the bridesmaids for, but she does not like the groom at all, and she's very very vocal about it. So when a friend like said no, she's getting married, she's like, why are you doing this? He's an asshole. So yeah, so we're gonna have to come up sometime next year. So if not before then we'll make a plan. And with her being off, I'll say off, but hopefully by that time she'll have a job maybe. If not, then at least we have some more free time in December to go up. And then we can also keep her parents happy and go visit her family. Hey Casual, how you doing? Thank you very much. Oh yeah, so this is, I don't know what the real name is, but it's just the Pixie Bust from White Wolf Tavern. You get a version where you can have a with the wings or without the wings. I opted for the wings, but it's gonna cause a little bit of issue with my plan I have for on the plinth. So let's see. Yeah, I think that ice yellow is a much better option than that other yellow. Goes on a lot more smoother. she's getting back into her old skin tone, just not so patchy. Alright, 1 sec. Have to listen to a quick voice note. Way back. So, gonna keep on building these highlights with glazes. Let's see. Still want to bump up this side of the face a little bit more. It feels like my room has reached a more paintable humidity. Cool. Yeah, is it humidity? Yeah, humidifier, humidity. Sure. Big brain fart there. So, I think I'm pretty much done for the sketching phase on the face. Gonna slowly bump up the contrast more and more. One thing I love about this bust the most is just the face. It's a very nice, still very smooth, but it doesn't have any weird facial features. You have to try to do some mental painting over to get the right idea across. Yes, that is very much I must say it is one of the few models, especially 3D printed company ones, where it's like that kind of more emotion in the sculpt, and with it being such a not over the top bust, having that done right is nice, because you don't have to have 10,000 things going on around the model just to have it be a cool model to paint. Oh yeah, I saw this today, Celery, that the same guy who sculpted the troll bust you're busy with, he's also the same guy who did the hand sculpture of the terrible kid stuff model you like, the guy with the rifle and the weird like Fallout monster dog thingy over his shoulder. There's like this, oh, very nice, very nice. The more you know. Yeah, he is a master and a wizard and everything in between. Yeah, anything is, I said earlier on the stream as well now, if you do ever print a model, just don't print it hollow, because that fucking dry spot or wet spot is still seeping out somehow. So I'll probably sometime I should actually put it outside today. Just place a glass container or something over the model. Doesn't pick up all the dust and debris from outside, so that can cure up and not be gloopy anymore. I'm trying to not really touch my brush onto that piece because, as we all do, we do lick our brushes. Last thing I want to do is get a little nice brush full of uncured resin and insert that into my mouth. A few other things I would rather do before doing that. So. Brush is not happy. Getting dry. Starting to go all over the place. And there's a little dry spot of paint on the tip. Get going wild. And let's see if we can something about these ears. I also wanted to ask, how was Da Vinci's stream? I haven't actually seen one of his streams before. I think it was last night when you sent me a screenshot. Very Spanish. But I also did see on the few latest videos from Angel that they also threw in a teaser here and there about threw in a Twitch logo during his painting video, so I think Angel is also gonna be doing some Twitch streams soon. But I think that would also be mostly just in Spanish. Where's this cat? Ran away. Cat was not patient. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that these mods answers you, but not. I guess if you can't do it, so like a good job at doing something in English, it's not his fault. Not everybody can speak it, so can't fault him for that. Mm. There is one foam place close to where I live, but there's like roof insulation and stuff like that. I have a very suspicious feeling that they do actually sell extruded foam. So I must actually just go there one day and like, oh my guys, I don't want to insulate my roof, but do you maybe have these sheets? If you do, how much? Because I think that is one of the nicer products to have, especially like over a limited painting session where you, why don't you go buy this shit? Yeah, we're sitting around waiting for epoxy putties and everything to cure. Meanwhile, you can just rip that shit up and put it onto a block and be painting in like 10 minutes. What? How did you know about that? Everybody knows about extruded foam. Bad celery is bad. But we're friends. Keeping secrets, yeah. One day I'm gonna see, hi guys, celery paints here. Today we're gonna play with some extruded foam. And I'm gonna be sitting there like, what the fuck, man? Where'd this come from? Awesome playlist. Like a dead spot in the song, like for 10 minutes. Please, bro. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I got this one idea I want to do. I know I did mention it to you about the dwarves. So the other day I was in Pick and Pay, in P&A, and to give you an idea, is it's a pencil holder for your desk, but all of this stuff is like at different lengths. So let's do a quick mock-up of that. So say, I think there was like 5 or 6 tubes in it. So imagine like different lengths going around into like, say there's one, and then in center there's extra one, and then on the side. And the sizes was pretty decent, around like say a 32 mil hole. So I went ahead and like thought like, wouldn't that be cool just to buy that thing and like rough it up and then start like doing like plaster of Paris mixed in with like shredded tissue paper, whatever, do like old school newspaper where you just like bulk it up and make it look like a face of like a cliff with twigs and shit everywhere, and then you can like paint all the models and tie them into that little holder. But I think it's maybe our idea. So then at least you only have to like paint the top standing ones completely to the back and everything, or you can just put foliage up where the other ones you only have to focus mainly on the front, so it would cut down on some of the painting time. Yes, use it as scaffolding. I assume you can also just basically use toilet rolls. Do the same thing, just do it on like a piece of chipboard, not chipboard, it's way too dense and thick. Like a piece of cardboard, and then just bulk everything out. And then you can just like stuff like newspaper into the holes just so that everything doesn't collapse inwards. But that dwarf diorama has been stuck in my mind for a while. I just have to pull the trigger and buy the files on Durgin. Because I probably won't do all of them. Because just for this scene I would probably do all the ones with weapons. And not like do the ones with the lantern and the looking glass. Like the telescope thing. So it would be mostly the ones with like the weapons and the just standing and chilling there. Alright, so we can lighten up this skin again. So I have to maybe do that, but I also want to get that troll you're painting. I want to still paint him as well, and then that barbarian bust he also sells. Because I wanted to get some of the CA sculpt ones as well, like the lock and load and the cyber X standing one, but they are a little bit on the expensive side just for the two models. And I know I can get the files for free, but I would rather want to support the artist that sculpted it, not be a peanut and then just rip off the files by somebody else. Because I do like their sculpts, so I'd rather support their work and do it the proper way. I say building up green skin tones is a hell of a lot easier than purple skin tones. It's a little bit more of a enjoyable process. I got mostly doing green skin. Jeez, bro. Oh, we're gonna paint something different because the previous model was also a lot of purples and greens. My Crow Mother was also purple and greens. Now we're both painting mostly green skin. This one a little bit more darker than the other tones. Yeah, I think purple is a good like for shadows. So for instance that purple airbrush glaze spots, that's a pretty good job for that. I don't know. Can always experiment, but yeah, that the transparent ones are very potent, so at least you're gonna get a lot of mileage out of just a single drop. And it might be not so hard to remix and to get those colors back, or consistently getting the colors you want. Yeah, swapping out that Denary yellow for this ice yellow is a very good decision. Ah yeah, especially that as well. Because if you wanted to do shading and not lose the textures, the transparency is going to be your best option. Let's just creep this little highlight reflection up a little bit and just let it breach. It's supposed to be in shadow, but not that harsh of a shadow. And that can go up a little bit more into the eye socket as well. Can do a little bit of a highlight on the eyelids. Frame the bottom lid of the eye. And you can just do the same. Thanks, mid. Yeah, I think I'm really getting to grips with the painting faces or female faces. It's always levels to it, so think I've reached a certain level, so obviously the next step would be to do a more realistic skin tone, or I can even bring in more purples here and there. The one video I did watch was where he actually brought in a lot of like normal Caucasian flesh tones into the highest highlights on the cheeks, so it reads very naturally. Orange, I think the orange would pretty much desaturate the green too much. And especially with the oranges, it can go a bit too much brown too quickly. Well, that's the only thing I'm scared of. But what I can use is something like... I could probably bring in some orange, like a... I did take out this for a reason, so it's a little bit more orangey red. And if you do bring it even onto the cheeks, at least like a little bit, should work as well. Just to try and get... Especially the more lighter it goes, the less brown it would look. I assuming so. Oh man, your arm has to be right. Gotta keep me entertained during work. Because now I can type away like a madman when I'm working from home. Alright, let's try to get this other side of the ear up to speed as well. Totally off camera there. I must say the one thing I'm actually surprised with today, so last night, it's just one of those weird feelings when you post something up onto Instagram. So somebody made Deno memes. Project cancelled. Oh. Well, that's sad. Opala thing was cancelled due to IP issues. Take it that it's probably the bus that got cancelled. Let's see if it's still on his website. That the new Barbarian bus got pulled. Quickly see. Ah, that's shit. That's not fun. Anyway, to other news. That's very shit. Especially when you do something on your, like, it's not like, hey, I'm just gonna sculpt this thing on the PC real quick, hold my beer. So, I want the dude with the guitars STL. Which one is that? Are you talking about the main picture? I think it's actually a girl, isn't it? Which one are you talking about? Where's this model? I don't know where this model is. Yeah, the main picture. I think it's actually a chick, is it? No, I don't know. Anywho's also. So, something weird. So this dwarf I painted up how many weeks ago? Well, cannot like two weeks ago, and he's only by 46 likes now. So I'm not playing the liking games. There's something interesting. So I tried to take nice photos and everything, and then I just like, hey, oh cool, I painted this grandmother up. So posted the pictures in my hand, and she's already by 45. So very strange. The same with this one. I just posted the pictures I took in my hands. So, strange. Social media is a very weird world. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting. Alright, this one eye is looking a little bit wonky, so I'll do that later. People like it more. Ah, it's true. Could have been just a little bit more, a better paint job. But I also know what Werewolf Tavern did, like, shared on their story and stuff. So I would give that as a little bit of credit. The companies that does that, especially like Big Child as well. That, hey, I'm painting this thing. 2 minutes later on their story, hey, go check out this guy is painting this model. So it's actually a nice feeling when the companies, they don't have to do it at all. It's just kind of feels nice when you like painting something and the people whose model you're painting is sharing it. And let's just stretch this out and at least give some more three-dimensional look to the boop. So I must say, I think after this model, it's probably going to be close to end of the month, next month, or well, this month. By the time I'm done with her, tend to focus a lot of time on the skin, and depending on how long the backdrop idea I want to do takes, then I'll probably do something a little bit of a bigger project. And the issue with that is I need stuff printed if I wanted to do that project. So say like if I wanted to do the dwarfs or the Fallout diorama, I'm not too keen on just waiting around to paint that, or wait around to paint something. So we'll see. Might do a 75 more. Just trying to think which one. Got two 75 mils prepped already. The one is for the diorama and the other one is not for a diorama. But at least that one I can actually do in a cool vignette type. Actually a cool idea, I just thought of something. So let's quickly grab that model while the idea's fresh in my mind. Also see what time the missus is messaged me. Half an hour ago. Alright. So I got this one prepped. Most of the gaps are filled and everything. The only thing I still have to do is attach that maybe, or keep it separate. The only issue is he has tubes running from that to the separate parts, and then he has an extra one running towards that gauge, but I don't think I'm gonna do anything on that side. I might just fill up that little hole in his mask. Just assuming that you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. So there's supposed to be a pipe also going from that one to that little pressure gauge, and then an extra one going over to his back into this little furnace thing. So this one is easy enough to do. So I might just do like a little rolled green stuff and let that cure, and then just keep it separate and not glue it yet, so I can actually paint everything separately. So I actually just had an idea for a vignette. Let's put this to this side because that's the least chance of smashing the thing. So he just come with a base, which is fits almost nicely onto that plinth. For some reason I thought this one fitted like much better on it. Nonetheless, actually gives us a little bit more room to move this forward. Because, oh no, that's actually on the front. Even better. Because he stands with his 1 foot there and the other one stands on there, so he's like that. So, cool thing I actually wanted to do is, let's see. So, he's got 2 angles you can have him on. So I think the one main angle on the box is actually from this side or the front? No, it's probably from the front because it actually looks at you. So if I can do a extra backdrop behind him, that would also be cool. So his one hand holds his flag. So if you can maybe try to sneak some kind of symbol onto the flag, that would be also cool. So he's very wastelandy, so if you do like a nice sunset orange backdrop, you can get a lot of like orange tones on the back. Or you can play with like ideas of painting more like background stuff in. Desert, wasteland, gas stations, I don't know. Do some Bob Ross shit on the backdrop. Because I'm not too keen on, there's a few models I've painted now without backdrops, 75mm stuff. But they don't always turn out too great for me. So I think if you have like a nice backdrop, or at least like do like a worn torn like streets or something, gives that apocalypse vibe. So I don't know, might do something like that. Yeah, that's also a good idea. But yeah, he's very cool. I like this model. It's also one of those cases where he almost slipped out of my hands and then he came back into stock. And then I had no choice but to buy him. And then luckily Marco Fusonio also has a 2 or 3 part video on how he painted him, like using interesting skin tone colors on the back where the furnace is, how to like do burnt skin and stuff. So might have a look at that and just kind of put it to the one side, not draw too much inspiration from that. Yeah, that's a funky a little bit. So yeah, you can also play around with a little bit of freehand, doing the little pressure gauge signs and stuff. Yeah, he's a very cool model. And this one is the one I want to do for the Fallout diorama, but she's very delicate. I also have to do a lot of gap filling and stuff, but details upon details. Each piece has a little bit of a story, so like on the backpack, the rucksack, and the medic case, radio, pot, fire extinguisher, fire axe, little water bottle, dagger in the back. Casted models, man, casted models. Gotta love it. So let's put them away. Space is a little bit on the large side. It'll probably be on something like this. Unless I can scoot this all the way to the front, smooth everything out, and then just have this little lead into the backdrop. Or if I wanted to do like a city scene, I can just smooth all of this out and make it like a tarmac type of deal. So yeah. But I think for that, that is the end of the stream. So yeah, got other things to do before the Discord stream later. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the process of the Pixie Bust. I'm trying to paint one model at least completely on stream, so instead of doing stuff off stream, I decided just to put on the stream and do some painting, and then got distracted by other models. But yeah, everybody have a good one. See you all hopefully tomorrow, and stay safe, and yeah, have a good one. Cheers, bye.